Welcome everybody, Crazy here, and today we have a Dead by Daylight news video. So some of this news you may already know, so do feel free to skip around in this video. Starting off, I just want to give some very quick reminders in case you didn't already know some of these things. First of all, the Bone Chill event is currently available in the game, and playable all the way up until January 4th. I'm giving you guys this reminder, that way you can get all the brand new rewards in the game, before you can't get them anymore. Also, there is the login rewards that I also wanted to remind you all of. This is because on December 22nd, there is going to be a unique banner if you were interested in that. And one last quick reminder before we move on to all the brand new skins, is the fact that on January 8th, they are going to be moving all of the original characters leading up until Hour of the Witch into these kind of DLC bundle packs rather than singular DLCs. However, they are actually kind of a nice deal because they are only going to be $20 for 4 different chapters, which is definitely better price than it originally would have been if you bought 4 different chapters altogether. But yeah, they're going to be these 3 different packs. They're going to contain 4 chapters each and be $20. It's also worth mentioning there will be a gold edition also releasing on the same day that will also include all 3 of those packs. I'm not too sure how much it will cost, but I'm assuming it would be a better deal than just buying the game in the 3 packs. Anyways, now we can move on to the brand new skin leaks. These were all data mined in the game files thanks to Dweet on Twitter. I would recommend giving them a follow if you aren't already, that way you can see some similar things like this. So starting off here, we're going to start with the skins coming the soonest into the game. On January 4th, we will be getting a skin for Michaela, a skin for Hattie, and a skin for Zarina. Next up, on January 9th, we are going to be getting a brand new collaboration in the game with a fashion brand called Dom Rebel. I'm assuming I'm saying that correctly. This is what their website looks like and an example of some of the clothes they sell in real life. And now we're going to move on to the skins that they made in Dead by Daylight. So yeah, we have a skin for Legion, a skin for Trickster, a skin for Nia, this skin here for Feng Min, this skin for Elodie, and lastly a skin for Vittorio. Moving on January 16th, we are going to be getting some brand new mobile ported skins into the game. Basically, these were skins that were originally in the mobile game and are now being ported over into the console version. They do look a little bit different, but they do still have the same style. So yeah, basically we have this skin for Oni and Nurse, and then we have this skin here for Dwight, kind of wearing a dinosaur onesie. Also on January 16th, we are getting this skin here for Singularity, this skin here for Gabriel, and this skin for Ace. In the last batch of skins we have here on January 23rd, we will be getting this skin here for the Spirit, this skin for Jonah, and a skin for David. And that's it for all the upcoming skins in the game files currently. Now I'm going to be moving on to some official information from Dead by Daylight. And yeah, we'll start here with their satisfaction survey. They do these very often here and usually give some information of things they are considering doing in the future. And one of those things is brand new game modes. They gave a whole list of different potential game modes that could be added into the game and asked people's opinions on which they would prefer most. They have said previously that they would like to start this off with limited time modes and then maybe consider the idea of permanent modes. So yeah, I'm going to go through the list of all the potential modes we could be getting in the future here. Starting off, we have a 5v5 mode. This will feature 2 teams of 4 survivors and 1 killer that are facing off to control a set of generators. You capture these generators by moving the generator progress towards your team's side in a tug-of-war gameplay. This is going to be very interesting to see because the survivors are going to be fighting against each other and the killer. Also, they are considering a 2v8 mode, which I personally would want the most. This is just as it sounds, 2 killers versus 8 survivors, and there is not going to be any hooks, but the Cages of Atonement will still work. I'm not too sure how the killing method will work then. Maybe it will be straight up Moris or another method of killing. Next up, we have the VIP mode. In this mode, if the obsession is killed, everyone will die and only the obsession is able to open the exit gates. I personally am not very crazy about the idea of this mode because it really would require a lot of teamwork and not work very well for people playing solo. We then have the Bum Rush game mode. This will have more generators spawn on the map, everyone will move at double speed, and survivors will have 3 lives, and they can revive after a 20-second death time. This would be very interesting to see in game. I'd assume it would be very fast paced. Also, they are considering a zombie tag game mode, where a random survivor is picked to be killer. When you down a player, they swap their role, and yeah, you keep on playing until only 1 survivor is left. This is basically the infected game modes you'll see in like Halo or Call of Duty, and that's going to be very crazy because you'll probably have matches where you can have 5 different killers or something at once, which will be really interesting. And probably the craziest of all, they are considering a giant game mode where killers are turned into giants and survivors become tiny. I can't even imagine how this would work, and I would really like to see that. I'd imagine this would be a map that would be exclusive to this game mode, that way the killer can actually move through doorways and stuff. I don't know, there's a lot of really cool ideas for that, and I'd be really curious to see what they would do with a giant game mode. Moving on, we have the disgustingly scary game mode. All this would do is make the fog thicker and make it a darker map. While in theory this sounds really cool to see, I don't really know if it's enough for a standalone game mode. I would like to see this maybe incorporated into the other potential game modes. Like maybe on the 2v8, to account for there being 2 different killers, maybe the survivors have the benefit of the map being darker. I'm not too sure. Another potential game mode is swapped perspective, in which the killers will play in 3rd person and survivors will play in 1st person. This would be really cool to see. The survivor perspective would be really terrifying and hard to play, but I think this would be a really cool game mode. Next up, we have the Deceivers game mode. This is basically just Among Us. I don't think I really need to do any more explaining. Basically just Dead by Daylight Among Us. Sounds like a really cool idea. If they were to do this, I would like to see text chat on console to account for that. Next up, we have the Luck of the Draw game mode. This basically just applies the new challenge in the game, where you're able to have random perks when you select the challenge, but this would be a whole entire game mode for that. Cool in theory, maybe just a small little limited time mode. I don't think it's very interesting to do as a whole different game mode though, personally. Next up, we have the Hide and Seek game mode. This would have no generators and no hooks and only Moris, which would happen on downs. You would have to stay alive for 5 minutes to escape through the exit gates, and ores will be revealed every couple of seconds. This sounds terrifying and really cool. I like the idea of a game mode with instant Moris. I think it would make the game feel way more terrifying, albeit way harder for survivors. But I don't know, maybe they could do some different balancing to make this really fun. And lastly, they have an idea for a tag game mode. A random survivor will be picked to be the killer, and when they down a player, they will swap roles, and they will have to survive for 5 minutes and escape. So yeah, this one would just be a basic tag game mode. I think it would be pretty cool, but the others sound way more interesting in my opinion. I would like to hear what you all think about these potential game modes. I still personally like the idea of combining some of these into a single game mode and having a ton of different new things in that game mode. but I don't know, maybe it would work best as just separate things as a limited time thing. I'm not too sure. Anyways, we'll be moving on because there's a lot to go over here. So next up, they ask some things about cross progressions, and basically, they ask in the survey if you would be okay with them adding cross progression if DLCs would only be shared across platforms if they were purchased in the game store and not as a DLC pack. I'm assuming this is because PlayStation or whatever other company has an issue with this would want their sales on their platform and be able to make more money off of it that way. This is very sad because this is probably the only way we will get cross progression, so I just voted yes personally. It is very sad that this is how it has to happen because honestly, I think PlayStation should realize many people will probably be moving to PlayStation if they previously played on Xbox, for example, like I have, and would like to play on that platform and buy things on that platform. So it wouldn't just be losing people, they'd also be gaining people, and in the long run wouldn't really be losing anything. But that's just my opinion on that, especially as someone who has switched from Xbox to PlayStation. It is especially sad because I have bought every single DLC as a DLC pack because you get that exclusive cosmetic, and I might start buying them as in-game DLCs now, I'm not too sure. The bright side is if they do end up adding this, they do say that everything else will carry over though. So like levels, cosmetics, and everything else, which is pretty cool. It's certainly better than not getting cross progression ever in the game, but again, it is pretty sad that this is probably the only way we are able to get cross progression. And lastly, in the satisfaction survey, strangely enough, they did ask your thoughts on a new Naughty Bear game. And I personally would be very excited to see something like that. And yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see what a new take on the franchise would be. And next up, we're going to be moving on to their Ask Me Anything they did on Reddit. So basically all the developers for Dead by Daylight, well at least most of them, came together and answered a lot of the community's questions about certain things, and they revealed some pretty cool stuff. People were asking about new challenges they can do in Rift and different rewards about it. And they said they were considering adding a new set of challenges which would be harder to complete than normal, which would allow you to upgrade an outfit to give it a new appearance. This sounds very interesting, and I'm wondering what potential outfits they will be doing this for. Again, this is just a thing they are considering doing, so we're not too sure if we will end up seeing it in the future or not. Next up, someone asked about the skins that are for Sadako in the mobile version, which we do not have in the core game. And they say that they are trying to get the rights to have it ported over to the core version. This is very exciting that they are going to be adding this, or at least trying to add this. However, it is very strange to me that this is how the mobile version of the game works. I kind of assumed this was how it works previously because they had new Attack on Titan skins in mobile recently, but having this confirmation is very strange to me. This means mobile could potentially end up having exclusive licenses in the future maybe. I understand licensing rights are very complicated, but I would hope that they would have more communication with them to be able to also get those licenses as well. In other news, they are considering adding skin gifting into the game so you can gift different cosmetics to your friends. I love this idea. They do say, however, it will take a lot of trial and error because of a lot of different issues, but it is something they are trying to do. Also, they are trying to make it so the survivor voices are kind of leveled out so they aren't louder than one another. For example, people like Ash are way louder than the other survivors and easier to be heard on the map. Also, they do confirm they are going to be adding Amazon Prime exclusive skins into the store eventually. Another thing that's pretty exciting is they are trying to make it so that you can actually preview a combination of cosmetics before buying them. At the moment, you can only view singular items and what they look like on your current outfit instead of doing a whole outfit of unknown items before you buy them. This just makes it so it's easier to see what your outfit would look like, and that way you don't risk the possibility of them not matching. They also are now going back and rethinking their decision of not doing prestige rewards, and now they are talking through ideas of certain prestige rewards they could do. In my personal opinion, I think it would be pretty cool to see player icons for whatever player you got prestige 100 for. Other than that, I can't really think of much, but that's just one potential idea. Also, they gave some information on the field of view slider, which will be coming eventually into the game, which I'm personally very excited for. And they say that the FOV slider will be featured in the beta tab first, that way they can test it out. And also, that they will not change the ability to be blinded by flashlights easier, because if you don't know with a wider field of view, you are able to be blinded easier by the flashlight. Honestly, I'm okay with this if it means I'm not motion sick having a small field of view the whole time. Anything is better than nothing. They also say that they are going to add previous Rift skins into the store, and that they are not going to focus on color variations at the moment, and they also confirm that the Deep Rift versions will stay exclusive to the Rift. Yeah, basically everything we already knew. The Deep Rift versions we didn't know for sure were going to be exclusive, but now we got that confirmation. And lastly, they are considering doing a rework for the daily ritual system to improve the presentation and reward visualization. Anyways, that's basically it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed all this news. Definitely a longer video for today. And yeah, have a wonderful day everybody, and as always, stay safe in the fog.